Hey, my name is Jobby, and we're taking a look at the Metal Build Evangelion Unit 2. And just like every other piece of merchandise from this godforsaken franchise, the shit was overpriced. Not only that, but the limited pre-order window was insane. I literally camped out in front of AmiAmi.com, not sponsored, waiting for the exact date and time for the pre-orders to go live. I have a very productive life, and when that clock struck midnight, I refreshed that product page and the pre-orders were sold out. I even had a Twitter meltdown about it. How embarrassing. So I gotta give a huge shout out to one Azazer from myfigurecollection.net. This absolute Chad posted an active link to Hobby Link Japan, and I barely got in my pre-order. Product successfully consumed. So was the figure itself worth the price? No, but it's still a great figure, especially because I'm part of the Evangelion cult. And I'm not even gonna go in depth about the anime Neon Genesis Evangelion. All you need to know is giant robots, depression, Jesus Christ, and cum. Out of the box, the figure requires some assembly, and you want to be careful with these tiny connections. They are made out of metal, but you can never be too careful. And if you saw my Metal Build Evangelion Unit 1 review, you'll find this figure to be very familiar. Matter of fact, this is almost the exact same figure, with minor but obvious design differences. That being the chest, the head, and of course the color scheme. Unit 2 here is as red as a certain dress that I wrote a song about. Tired of my red dress plugs? I'm not stopping until it reaches 200,000 views. And on the topic of Metal Build Eva Unit 1, that review was 7 months ago. Jesus, it didn't even feel that long. But it was! What I'm saying is, I promise not to get into any controversy today. I'm a good boy, I promise. Like it even matters. I said trans rights on YouTube and got demonetized for it. Fuck off. In terms of my favorite Evangelion designs, Unit 2 is right behind Unit 1 for me. My favorites are in numerical order, how convenient. And I'm not talking about the more popular rebuild design. God, no. The original TV show design is superior, and thankfully, this figure pays tribute to that. The difference is in the head sculpt, and my god, this is a fantastic one. You can even open up the top and bottom of her head to reveal her eyes. And yes, I did say her. I'm not doing that again. And while we're at the head, you get this thing, which I could only describe as a headband. It looks goofy. But you can switch it out for this almost identical piece. But this one has a few holes where you could plug in a visor. That's a great look. Makes the normal headband a bit useless. And in general, the metal build aesthetic is a great look for Unit 2. There's something about the color scheme here that accentuates the unique design in a way that Unit 1's colors didn't. The combination of mechanical detail and impeccable paint evokes an aura as fiery as her pilot. Speaking of which, I did review Figma Oscar a while ago, but YouTube didn't promote that video because they hate women. Seriously, I can't put an anime girl in the thumbnail without getting flagged. Jesus. As expected with something from the metal build line, this figure contains a lot of die-cast metal. The whole skeleton, in fact. Basically, any part that's shiny, you can feel it. Oh, but as you saw, that doesn't automatically mean tight joints. Most of the figure feels very sturdy and... I spoke too soon. What I'm trying to say is the figure is fun to handle, but I would be careful with it. I can definitely see this figure becoming loose over time. At least for some joints like that knee. I don't think it's gonna happen with this ball joint at the head, which is easily removable. And if you tear off her ball jointed throat, the head swivel becomes unlimited. Can look up and down. Ball joint at the base of the shoulder, that can move forwards and backwards. Ball joint at the shoulder pad, that tends to pop off. And yet another ball joint. Rotation at the shoulder, arm moves out, swivel here. Double bend at the elbow, hinge joint, wrist swivel, which is connected by a ball joint. That's also a hinge joint. Ball joint at the chest, which is a little too tight, but it can do what every ball joint can do, including a swivel. Ah! Maybe I can loosen that up a little with this non-distinct white liquid. Okay, I'm not gonna do the gag. And another ball joint at the waist. That allows for an arcing back, beautiful curve, awesome crunch, and some side to side. Each of these black parts are on ball joints, so they get out of the way. And even these spine pieces are on ball joints, which results in a beautifully natural curvature when you twist the figure. Rotation at the leg, moves back that far, hinge joints at the hips that allows for a pretty good spread, and you can see that her pussy bones shift in and out of her thigh. Horny. A thigh swivel that is ridiculously tight, moves about that far out and this far in. Double bend at the knee. This part is spring-loaded for extra visual flair. Slight kneecap joint. Ball joint at the base of the ankle, which allows for a good pivot. But there's also a ball joint at the foot proper, allowing for even more of a pivot. Every ball joint can be a swivel. You should know this by now. Hinge joint, ball joint at the front piece, and same with the back. Up and down. And finally, a toe bend. The articulation here is fantastic, but we can get a lot more mileage out of her using this stand, which comes disassembled out of the box, but the instructions are easy enough to follow. You can follow instructions, can't you? You're a big boy. Leave a like and a comment if you're a big boy. I need to know that I'm not making videos for 5-year-olds. You can attach almost every accessory the figure comes with, including the figure itself. Ball joints here for adjustability, plug in the umbilical cable, and charge her up because Avas need charging. And this is a great display, but not very action-packed. For that, you're gonna need the stand arm, hinge joint, swivel, hinge joint, remove this cap, plug the arm in, plug in this alternate umbilical cable head, and plug in the figure itself, which allows for a lot of display options, but I didn't even talk about her hands yet, which includes a pair of fists, open hands, clawed hands, knife-holding hands, which of course allows her to hold this progressive knife. You get a couple of these holsters, by the way, and just like a box cutter, just push up on that switch to reveal the blade. Just kidding, these are 2 separate pieces. Why? She can also hold this pair of larger knives, and you get a pair of trigger finger hands. That lets her hold the pallet rifle, which has a removable clip or magazine, I don't give a shit. And she could also hold a bayonet. Ah shit. That little canister is also removable. And finally, you can plug in these bike shooters. You get a couple of these struts to hold them up, as you can see. These things were most famously used in End of Evangelion. Great looking weapons, and that reminds me. You know how I keep saying Unit 1 figures need human teeth? Unit 2 figures need human guts. Got him. But what if you wanted to fit her with all of her weapons at once? You can, you goddamn psychopath. There's a hidden panel on each of her thighs that lets you plug in these adapters, which features a lot of holes, and any hole that you see here is fair game to plug in a weapon, just like a real woman. I'm not exactly sure what that means, but I'm not going back to jail. And here we have Unit 2 fully armed, really excessive, but really cool. Besides some pieces being too loose or too tight, I can't find many negatives with this figure. Just wish she was bigger. Here's Figma Oscar. My previous review, the very large Planet X Apocalypse. Another very large figure, the Real Action Heroes Unit. Wait, I didn't review that yet. Mafex Ava Unit 1. And of course, the Metal Build Ava Unit 1, which I did do a giveaway for, sponsored by Gemmer. R.I.P. Gemmer.
If you give it away, why do you have it?
No. I just bought a new one. You already know I have a problem. I don't think there was any doubt that Unit 2 would look excellent next to Unit 1. And even though the pre-order windows are stupid and the price is insane, I hope Bandai keeps making metal build Avas. Unit 0 would be awesome in the style, and the mass-produced Avas would be sick! But it looks like Bandai's moved on to real grade Evangelions, which I did pre-order. Subscribe for those reviews. I can't tell you how much fun I had with this figure. And I might have gone overboard with posing it. So for the first time in a long time, let's bring back picture time. Yeah, that's it. My videos not about Transformers, including this one, have a little trouble getting noticed by the YouTube algorithm, so I would really appreciate it if you share this video if you liked it. The only reason why my Unit 1 video did so well is probably because of the controversy. I fucking hate how this system works. Positivity is punished and outrage sells. Please buy my merch.